The people walking in darkness have seen a great light, and those living in the land of the shadow of death, a light has dawned. For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government will be on his shoulders, and he will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. Of the increase of his government and peace there will be no end. He will reign on David's throne, and over his kingdom, establishing and upholding it with justice and righteousness, from that time on and forever. The zeal of the Lord Almighty will accomplish this.
On a cold winter's night, and the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. Through him all things were made. Without him nothing was made that has been made. In him was life, and that life was the light of men. The light shines in the darkness, but the darkness has not understood it. There came a man who was sent from God. His name was John. He came as a witness to testify concerning that light, so that through him all men might believe. He himself was not the light. He came only as a witness to the light. The true light that gives light to every man was coming into the world. He was in the world, and though the world was made through him, the world did not recognize him. He came to that which was his own, but his own did not receive him. Yet to all those who received him, to those who believed in his name, he gave the right to become children of God, children born not of natural descent, nor human decision, or a husband's will, but born of God. The Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. We have seen his glory, the glory of the one and only, who came from the Father, full of grace and truth.
Holy night, the stars are brightly shining. It is the night of our dear Saviour's birth. Long lay the world in sin and error pining, till he appeared and the soul felt his worth. A thrill of hope, the weary soul rejoices, for yonder breaks the new and glorious morn. Fall on your knees, oh, hear the angels' voices, oh, night divine, oh, night when Christ was born. Holy night, holy night, night divine. Long time ago in Bethlehem, so the Holy Bible say, Mary's boy child Jesus Christ was born on Christmas Day. Oh, now hear the angels sing, a new King born today, and man will live forevermore because of Christmas Day. Trumpets sound and angels sing, listen to what they say, that man will live forevermore because of Christmas Day. While shepherds watch their flocks by night, they see a bright new shining star. They hear a choir sing,
I wonder if you've got a favourite story that tries to help you understand the meaning of Christmas. One of my favourite stories to help with the meaning of Christmas was about, it was a Christmas Eve, a very snowy Christmas Eve. And it was the tradition of the family, they were a farming family, that the wife would go to church every Christmas Eve as soon as the bells started ringing. And she tried to encourage the husband to come, but her husband just didn't want to come. He wasn't really a church-going person. Anyway, he was sat in front of the fire around the Christmas tree that evening when suddenly he heard a thud on the window. And then it was closely followed by several other thuds. And a storm had begun to kick up, a big snowstorm. But wondering what the noise was, he went outside and he saw that some of the birds had lost their way. These flock of geese had lost their way. A few of them had hit the window and they'd landed in his farmyard. The storm was getting worse and he thought to himself, I've got to be able to help these birds get to a safe place. If I can get them in the barn, they'll have a safe place to stay overnight until the storm has passed. So the farmer tried to shoo them into the barn. He put the light on, but the birds just kept moving out of his way. The farmer then tried to put down a load of corn between where the birds were and where the barn was, but the birds were very suspicious of him and they just completely ignored him and refused to move. He tried to just put the light on in the barn and tried to make bird noises to try and encourage them to come into the barn, but the birds just still didn't want to move. And the farmer, just in that moment of frustration, thought to himself, if only I was one of them, I could just communicate with them and lead them into a safe place. And at that moment, the church bell began to ring, and the farmer at that moment understood what the meaning of Christmas was all about. I told that story a few years ago at one of our coffee shops, and somebody came up to me and they asked me, you didn't tell us the end of the story. And I said, what end of the story? What happened? And it dawned on me that actually the end of the story was really up to the birds what they would do. But it reminds us, doesn't it, that at Christmas we celebrate that God, Immanuel, became like one of us and came and lived among us. The Bible says that the Word became flesh and lived among us. And it reminds us exactly of that story, doesn't it? Why did he do that? Because he wanted to point us to a safe place that we might be. The Bible says that all human beings are sinners, every single one of us, and that we're facing the judgment of God. But God, who loves human beings so much, sent his only Son, Jesus, to come and live among us. It says in another part of the Bible, it says that he humbled himself and became a man and humbled himself to even death on the cross. And he did that to show a way that we could be saved and that we could know God for ourselves and have hope and have peace and have the greatest amount of joy. That's really what the meaning of Christmas. And like that person who asked me what the end of the geese story was, well, I want to say the same to you this Christmas time. The answer to that story is really up to you. What will you do? Will you hear and see what God has done for you this Christmas? And will you believe and will you follow him into that place of safety that he's made for you? Well, I hope that you all have a very blessed and very merry, merry Christmas, celebrating this wonderful news with your families. We're going to bring our carol service to a close now, and we're going to sing, O come, all ye faithful, joyful and triumphant. But for now, God bless you all.